My cousins essentially called me a gold digger, so I called them out on that. I was at a get-together with my family today, and went off on two of my cousins regarding their marriages. They were discussing their finances and buying a home with their respective husbands, and noting how expensive buying a home is right now. This discussion was at a table of people, including me. I sympathized, as I know how tough the market is from several of my friends who are going through the same issues. The older of the two gave me a side eye at this. Then, discussing a specific house that needed a paint uplift, and the youngest mentioned how she hates painting. I agreed and again said how I just painted my dining room, living room and foyer, and it was a pain because of all of the molding and taping off. The oldest looked at me and said how it must be nice to have a house with that many rooms. But I guess that's what happens when you choose to marry a man for his wallet. Now, I want to be very clear. I desperately love my husband more than I can ever say, and I know he is my soulmate. We had a long journey to Arhia, but I have known him since elementary school and fell in love with him at 16 and have loved him, in some way or another ever since. That being said, yes, he does have money, and yes, I knew that when I married him. I won't lie and say that it did not cross my mind when we got together. My parents struggled when I was younger, and I knew I didn't want that for my own kids. So is it why I chose to marry him? Absolutely not. But was it a consideration that in doing so I would be financially secure, and have a certain future lifestyle? Yes. Back to the story at hand, I do not advertise my finances. But the cousins have gleaned enough about them from family gossip, and this is not the first time they, or their mother have made negative comments about my husband/our finances. And I was done biting my tongue. I made a comment to them about how, back in the Pride and Prejudice days, I had just re-watched, so it was on my mind lol, it was nothing to marry a man for his wealth. That was literally a life goal. Just because nowadays people put an emphasis on marrying for love does not mean that more people these days, regardless of gender, should not consider finances when entering into a lifelong commitment. Yes, I got lucky. For me, love and security went hand in hand, and I am beyond thankful for that, and I recognize it. But they have no right to pass judgment on me, essentially calling me a gold digger, because they chose to marry men who have zero ambition, and who make poor financial choices, just because they love them, and that was all they cared about. After that I left, for many reasons. But my mom called me later and said it was essentially the talk of the party about how rude my comment was and that my feelings on marriage are archaic and just not how life is anymore. Maybe this is more of a question regarding society as a whole. But was what I said, or my ideas/feelings in general, so wrong? Does considering your future lifestyle at all make you a gold digger, or is it a practical approach to marriage?